folks. Welcome back to the Real Men of Real Estate radio show here on KCAA Radio. This is Patrick Franz, your host, the Note Mentor, and I'm back with Mary Hart, the fantastic Mary Hart, who is so smart, and she's here to shed some more light on helping us understand alternative investments like notes. But before we broke for commercial, Mary, you were talking about the list you made and why you made this, because who was Mary Hart? What was Mary Hart looking for? And how did this list come about? And then we're going to get into your 4 pillars, which I love. But who's Mary Hart, and why were you coming up with this list to try to figure out where to put your money?
Well, first, I think it's important to realize there's so many different ways to invest, whether it's the stock market, the single family real estate homes, multifamily apartment buildings, RV parks, all sorts of different ways, notes, everything else. And so to know why I chose the areas I chose, you need to know a little bit about my background, because that was important, what my skill set was and what my life was. So at the time, I was a practicing attorney. I've been an attorney for over 30 years, although I'm currently retired as an attorney and I'm just a consultant. But at the time, I was trying to figure out what my skill sets were. Well, I'm darn good at paperwork because I'm an attorney and I'm good at the details, and I can read contracts and I can read promissory notes. So that was easy for me. There might be some people who hate paperwork, hate contracts. Maybe notes aren't for them. But for most of us who want something more passive, as long as you learn how to review those things, you can do a really great job as a note investor. But for me, I went through and I said, okay, I'm not going to flip houses, for instance, because I'm working a 60-hour-a-week job already. I can't go swing a hammer or even run a construction crew. I'm not going to jump into a 200-unit apartment building because I was at the beginning of my investing journey. And so I just figured out what fits my skill set, which was I'm good with people. I'm good with paperwork. I only want to do real estate investing, 5 hours or 10 hours a week at that time. I want to be able to have a backpack business and do it from anywhere so I can travel and take trips. So that's how I got into my spreadsheet, was figuring out who I was, what I wanted, and what I was good at. And that narrowed down my investment classes. And I ended up with notes, private lending, which is me creating my own notes, lending to flippers, for instance, and then vacation rentals, because they were relatively easy to manage compared to some of the other strategies. So that's how I got to where I was in my list.
Yeah, and I love to have you back me up a little bit, Mary. That's why I had you on the show. But someone with your intelligence level and really broke it down like that, well, lo and behold, buying mortgage notes came in their top 2, top 3 of all other investments that you could think of. Right. And that's why I love them so much. And Mary, I got to tell you, I'm guilty of being one of those people that was like, oh my gosh, these contracts and this math and all of this stuff with these notes. And it was overwhelming at first, but you tend to gravitate towards an investment vehicle that's so beautiful and so well put together that sometimes you tend to learn those things that are outside your comfort zone.
Right. And that's the good news about, these types of promissory notes, contracts, assignments, all the types of documents in the note world are all fairly standardized. And so once you learn what you're looking for, it becomes much easier to go through those documents with your checklist and, oh, there's the signature, there's the notary, there's the promise to pay, blah, blah, blah. All that. It makes it much easier to do. So it might be a little bit of a learning curve for people who aren't familiar with contracts or aren't attorneys, but it's relatively easy to learn. And once you know it, you're ready to go.
I don't know if you ever witnessed the G.I. Joe cartoons back in the day.
Oh, yes.
G.I. Joe.
I'm old. Yes.
Yes. They always used to say at the end, knowing is half the battle. Right. And so I love telling people in the note investing world, listen, trust me, man, due diligence is half the battle, maybe more. What do you think about that?
I think, first of all, everybody needs to know that they don't know what they don't know. It's very, very important. And the second thing is that due diligence is probably the most important aspect of any investing, whether that's stocks and bonds or any of the alternative investments. And what does that mean, due diligence? It means you need to go into every single potential deal, vetting the people, the paperwork, the property. You need to know what it is you're looking at. And with notes specifically, You want to vet not only the borrower, have they been paying or not paying? What's their track record? You want to vet the property. Is this a house you would be okay to take back if you had to? Is it in a neighborhood that you would be willing to go walk through, at night, or send your grandma through to pick up a rent check, stuff like that. And then you want to vet the paperwork to make sure that it says what you think it says and that you're protected. So if you learn how to vet the people, the property, and the paperwork, then you're really in a very, very safe position with a promissory note investment. And in fact, when I buy a note, I never want to have more than about 65% of the value of the house out as an investment, because that gives me an automatic 35% equity cushion. If, goodness knows, if I had to take that house back, I'm actually making off better than if I just got paid in the normal course of business. So that's all part of your due diligence. And I would say it is critically important, and it has saved my bacon in the past for sure.
Yeah. And, folks, if you want to learn more about mortgage note investing specifically, and especially how to do all of the complicated due diligence necessary, you guys can go to noteinvestoruniversity.com. And in fact, I know they have a due diligence masterclass there that kind of covers due diligence from A to Z. So go on over there, noteinvestoruniversity.com, and check it out if you want to learn about note investing. But Mary, you were mentioning 4 pillars. Let's just get right into that. You said there's 4 pillars with investing, and explain that for us.
What is that? So I don't know when I came up with this, but it hit me sometime in the last couple of years that in any investment deal, there are 4 critical pieces. First of all, you have to have the right mindset. You have to believe you can do it. You have to think big, be safe, but think big. Believe you can do it. So get the right mindset. Once you get the mindset right, then you need to get the knowledge, the preparation. You need to learn everything you can about your asset strategy, what that investment class looks like, or maybe you're just learning about a lot of them, so you're deciding what asset class you want to invest in. But take the time and invest in the knowledge. And that investment could be an investment of your time. It might be an investment of an enrollment fee for a class. It might be an investment in a mastermind or a coach, but it is truly an investment in that knowledge. So once you have the mindset and the knowledge, the third pillar is you need a network. This is not a business you do by yourself. You always need a team, and what kind of team you need depends on the investment strategy. You might just need someone to bounce ideas off, and you can do the rest of it yourself. You might need a whole back-end office. It really just depends on what you're doing. But mindset, knowledge, network, and none of it means a hill of beans if you don't take action. So I've always said knowledge is power, knowledge is money, and that's all great, but that assumes you take action. And so those people who are perpetual students, who learn a lot and they network all the time, but they never take action, are never going to move their needle forward. So that's the 4 pillars: mindset, knowledge, network, and action. I think those are critical for every deal you're going to do.
So simple and straight to the point, right? So simple, so obvious, but for some people, they just don't realize what those things really mean and what it takes to actually change your life, have that success built because you were able to do change your life in those 4 different manners, right?
Right.
Mindset is huge. Can we just talk about that for a second? What do you mean by somebody has to change their mindset in order to achieve success?
So Tony Robbins talks about the fact that he believes that each of us has an internal barometer. We've got this little barometer in ourselves, is the story we've told ourselves about how far we can go, how much we can accomplish. And that internal barometer is often false. It's often comes from a place of insecurity or fear. And we need to learn how to change that internal barometer, or we won't move forward. We'll stay in our little comfort zone because that's the easy place to be, is our comfort zone. And we want to go outside of our comfort zone because that's where growth and change really happens. So mindset is figuring out where you are now and what you need to do to expand your personal development and your growth. I like to start with reading books and listening to podcasts. So if you're brand new in all this, a great book to start is Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. These are just mindset, not any specific strategy. How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie is a good one. The Magic of Thinking Big by David Schwartz is a great book. There's so many of them. Oh my gosh. And listen to anything you can get your hands on by Jim Rohn, R-O-H-N, huge mentor. I did not meet him, unfortunately, but I listened to everything. So you've got to figure out where you are and where you need to grow, and then find those resources, whether it's books, mentors, Note Investor University, Patrick, you mentioned, there are all sorts of places, great resource there. Find what you need to grow. So I think that's why mindset's important, because if you don't change your internal barometer, you're never going to be different place than where you are right now.
It's so huge that when I look at your 4 pillars, mindset, the knowledge you need, the network you need, and taking action, I think that all 4 of those are equally difficult for most people. Yeah. And it's okay to be humble and understand that about yourself. But I think the key to that mindset, Mary, you agree with me too, I know you do, is that you have to be actually cognizant that you want to better your mindset. And then you have to go and buy the book and read it, or download it on Audible and read it, or listen to the YouTube Jim Rohn stuff in the shower in the morning, or whatever it may be. But there's also changing those habits so that you can increase or change your mindset.
Right. Like I just started reading for the second time today, The Compound Effect by Darren Hart. And it's about how you can take little teeny tiny actions consistently over time can change the whole trajectory of your life and make such a big difference. And so I recognized that, I was getting a little sloppy in my habits. And so I thought, you know what, I need to read that book again. So I'm starting it. I'm highlighting it. It's incredibly powerful to read and listen to other mentors.
100%. We're going to go through this a little quicker because we're running out of time in this second segment, but no worries. But the knowledge base, they can go to noteinvestoruniversity.com. They can get in knowledge on note investing, right? Yeah. If they want knowledge from the rest of the things we're about to talk about in this show, maybe they want to reach out to you, but I figure we'll give them a chance to learn this in the middle of the show here. But how do they reach out to you if they want information on investment strategy, entities, protection, those kinds of things?
Yeah. So I have 2 main ways that I help people right now. I told you I was no longer practicing law, but I have a monthly membership called the AIM Hire Academy, and AIM stands for Alternative Investing Movement. So we have the AIM Hire Academy, where we teach many different asset classes, like 10 asset classes, plus the bubble wrap of protection of estate planning and asset protection planning and tax-deferred investing, all that kind of stuff. So you can find that membership and information about it at alternativeinvestingmovement.com. The other thing I do is private coaching. And you can reach me at Mary Hart at alternativeinvestingmovement.com. I don't have that up on a website yet for anybody other than my members, but we're working on that right now, making that available for the public. It's not cheap, but nothing good is, in my opinion. So I have 30 plus years of experience. I'm happy to share. I do put videos on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok. It's under, I think, Mary Hart AIM. And there's a lot of information there that's free and up for the public. And we're constantly trying to do more of that. So, my goal is to create my own legacy by helping people with financial literacy. I know that's important to you, Patrick. Yes. And to try to move everybody's needle forward in the knowledge area.
Folks, I'm telling you right now, Mary is full of knowledge. Why do you think she's my friend? Why do you think I want to be able to talk to her about things and get information from her? And the best way to do it is where? Get that website out there one more time.
www.alternativeinvestingmovement.com. Alternativeinvestingmovement.com. I'm sorry it's so long. All the short URLs were taken. We tried very hard.
Folks, get on over there. Sorry, Mary, get on over there. Alternativeinvesting.com. We had to cut her off just a real quick because we're going to take another commercial break, folks. And obviously, you're going to want to hear more of what Mary Hart has to say right here on the Real Men of Real Estate radio show on KCAA. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.